Welcome to the podcast. It's the Trust the Plan podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jim.
And today we're talking about Airbnbs. So you can use that income to generate a financial plan you can trust.
Okay, I see how you got there.
Took a while. So I had this idea for a podcast just today. So we thought we'd roll with it. Airbnb, you know, everyone knows what it is, and a lot of people have probably stayed in one. Have you? Airbnb?
Yeah, I have.
So I have as well, and it was a good experience. You know, I felt like having bedrooms and a full kitchen and all that was in some ways better than a hotel experience.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
and in some ways cheaper too, right?
Yeah, occasionally.
Yeah, you never know, but also, you know, it could be the same price or more, but a better experience.
Yeah.
But more and more people, I think, are hitting up Airbnb to see what's available before they book that hotel.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And think about
It's
like,
becoming a viable option.
It is, yeah. Think about like Marco Island, for instance. Okay, so we go there all the time. Okay, like twice a year, and there's like one hotel. There's a bunch of timeshares and stuff, but really just one hotel, the Marriott, and it's like $1,000 a night. It's ridiculous. Like it's insane. Okay, and it's like always filled. So people are paying it. Well, you know, 6-7 nights.
Yeah, it adds up pretty quick.
Right. So you can probably get a week in a house, a real house, right, on the island for like half that price, you know?
Yeah,
So think about the value.
definitely.
And think if you have 3 kids, right? Well, now you got to get 2 hotel rooms.
Right.
And then you're just over the top, right? Priced
Right.
out to the moon. So that's a perfect case for an Airbnb to have the whole home, you know? I think it makes a lot of sense. So anyway, we've done podcasts in the past about that cottage, that second property. And the way that I framed that, if you're going to have a second house, was like, well, this is the anti-dividend. Okay, this is before. Okay, so let's say you have a place in Michigan and you retire and you want to have a place in Florida as well. You want to carry both properties. Well, in order to have the second place, right, there's a couple of options to pay for it. One is a mortgage, and you have to pay that bill each month. Okay, and if you don't have any rental income, you know that's a larger withdrawal from the portfolio by definition.
Yep.
Okay, which is taxed as well. Most people
Typically, yeah.
pre-tax, right, having to pay tax on the withdrawal as well. The other way to pay for it is to pay cash, right? And so you're draining the portfolio, which then is there's less left over to provide
To
income.
earn return
Yeah.
on, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In addition, there's new property taxes, new maintenance. You know, you got to have window
of everything.
treatments. Okay, the window treatments, right?
Yeah. 2 gas bills, 2 electric bills.
When was the last time you did window treatments?
It's been a little while, thankfully.
Okay. It's not good. It's a bad situation.
Yeah, yeah. Coming off a fresh housing project for yourself, I'm sure you're all too familiar.
I speak from experience. So the window treatments are always top of mind for me.
Yeah, okay, good.
All right. So you have to make a larger withdrawal to have those types of expenses as well. Okay. So I framed it as the anti-dividend to say, hey, let's run a stress test on the portfolio on the retirement plan. So if we're going to have the second property, which has all these extra carrying costs, can we do it and still trust the plan? You like that?
Very good.
So now, okay, Airbnb's taken the world by storm. Like back then, you know, it wasn't really a thing. Maybe just
Yeah, it'd be
started.
a nightmare to try to rent out a place without some sort of assistance.
It was like VRBO was like catching on, right? So now though, okay, you have that second place, right? We can rent it out and cover those costs of the mortgage or whatever, okay? And it takes a little bit of work, okay? It takes a little bit of know-how, okay? But we have clients who have bought in Fort Myers, and they're going to use it just a few weeks out of the year. The rest of the time is Airbnb, okay? And it works. We have clients that have Airbnb their cottage up north in the winter, and it works.
Yeah.
Like, wait, they're paying up
Yeah.
north. Wait, I should say this. You always have the skiers, like the Boyne Mountain,
Right.
type area that is going to get demand. But like if you have a cottage like in Gaylord,
Right.
on a small lake,
On a lake, not near a hill. Yeah.
it's going to rent in the winter for Airbnb.
Yeah.
Like, would you believe that?
That's what I found fascinating, is talking to multiple people, right, who have had success doing that, renting their house in our, normal community, to people all the time.
You usually think, well, what's the draw?
Yeah.
Well, a frozen lake,
Yeah.
of course. So people are attracted to these getaways. Okay, they understand that the lake is frozen, right? But they just want to get away.
It's quiet.
Yes,
They're away from everything.
they're away from the city. They're away
Yeah.
from the kids. They're away from whatever. Okay, get away, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. But also, look around where the hotels are, right? People are not going to invest $10 million in building a small hotel like in Plymouth, Michigan at 5 and Sheldon,
Mm-hmm.
at 5 or Sheldon and 14, whatever,
Right.
unless they've done serious market research
Yeah.
and there's going to be demand, right?
Definitely.
So anywhere there's a hotel, you can have an Airbnb.
Yeah. 'Cause
Right?
there's people who are coming in and looking for places to stay.
That's right. Okay, so I've talked at length, about we have the duplexes, the single family rentals and everything. And, I've had some thoughts, right? Based on what we've been talking about now. I wonder if a duplex in Brighton or a duplex in Plymouth could be an Airbnb potential. Because, let's say a place rents for $1,500 a month, right?
Mhm.
And that's good, right? It's gonna give you a nice rate of return on your investment on the property. But what is that? $50 a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if Airbnb is like $200 a day,
Yeah.
how many nights do you need to have it filled where it makes sense and to do the extra work and everything,
Mm-hmm.
where it can be making a lot of sense to be Airbnb?
Mm-hmm.
And so now we've hit a tipping point, okay? I'm calling it right now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is the tipping point where
Okay.
now people are doing Airbnb arbitrage.
Hmm.
Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So if I wanted to buy a property and then Airbnb it, whether it's like someone has their cottage or their condo on the beach,
Right.
or like that would be dual use, right? Like they're gonna use it and they're gonna rent it.
Mhm.
Well, let's just talk about my situation where I have a duplex here in Plymouth, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The rent's for $1,500 on each side, and then that's it. That's the old model, right?
Mhm.
Here's the new idea, Airbnb arbitrage. You come to me and say, I want to rent your place for $1,500, and I say, okay. You say, but one thing, I want to make it an Airbnb. You think, okay. You are going to rent from me, and then you are going to sublet it through the whole
Huh.
Airbnb platform,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you can rent it 18 nights a week for $200, that's $4,000.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying me $1,500. You're gonna have to furnish it and pay the utilities and pay for cleaning and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it should be, those costs. I don't know how much they are. Let's just say that it comes down from $4,000 to $3,000. Let's say
Mhm.
you have some vacancies, you have some extra costs. It comes down to $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm making my $1,500 rent and using that to pay the property taxes, insurance, the water bill, trash bill, and then my profit.
Mm-hmm.
You are gonna charge $3,000, pay me the $1,500, so you have a $1,500 profit
Mm-hmm.
with zero money invested,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Hmm.
With me?
Interesting. Yeah.
You have to pay me that $1,500, but you don't have to go pay $300,000 for a new house.
Mm-hmm.
You're not on the hook for the mortgage.
Right.
You're only on hook for the rent.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this much risk, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the reward is larger than my reward with less risk
Hmm.
than
Interesting.
my risk. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
This is not a recommendation.
Yeah. For sure.
We are providing educational purposes only.
Right.
Okay, we're just chatting about this.
But so to make that work, you have to know the area. You have to have some confidence around. Because I guess the risk for the guy renting it is he's paying rent in a place that nobody stays at, right? But so he has some level of confidence that you can have people that will Airbnb that place.
Yeah.
So if you know the market well and you have a good sense of how many nights it'll be full, it's just doing the math on that as well, and it's an intriguing idea.
This guy's having so much success with this. He's like, do you have any other openings? I'm like, well, I have a bunch, but they're not open. He said, please call me before you put it on the market for rent, because I might be interested in doing that one too. Right?
Yeah. So
I mean, imagine if you had 30 of these, right?
Right.
It could be turned into a part-time job. It's still a lot of passive, but it's more work than a traditional rental.
Right.
But that's $1,000, $1,500 per unit a month. This is real money.
At what point do you, as the owner, though, say, you know what, I don't need the middleman. I'm going to just Airbnb.
I already thought
direct.
about it. I'm watching this guy.
Yeah.
If he does it, if it works for him, okay.
Yeah.
Then I already talked to wife last night.
She gave you the go ahead.
She's like, no.
Because the downside is there's more work, right? Now,
Yes.
if you got 6 people in there through the course of a month, you got to constantly make sure it's cleaned up and ready for the next group.
Biggest thing
in.
is cleaning, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a little more wear and tear.
Yeah, probably a little bit.
But I mean, the reward, if it's scalable, okay, can be a very high hourly rate, without the capital intensiveness.
Right, which is usually an obstacle.
Huge.
Right, people, that's why they can't get into it.
Yeah, right. Like, Preston did a podcast episode on home, what would you call it? House hacking, where you buy a duplex and you live in half, right? So that like lowers the risk of the investment side of it and allows it to accelerate. I mean, this is like, remember the commercials with the old man trying to pitch? It was like an infomercial for an hour. No money down. Buy my system. No money down. I'm gonna send you this binder. Okay. I bought it. Okay, because go back 20 years. Okay, like the wheels are turning about real estate, right? So that's this program. Okay, like he was talking about like buying things on land contract and then flipping them. I'm talking about income-oriented, long-term rentals, right? Versus playing over the top of that, the short-term rental over the top of the long-term lease. Okay,
Right.
so it's a sublet situation, but it's like no money down type financial, right? Again, you're committing to the lease, which could be overcome in 6 nights.
Right.
Or 7 nights. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, wanted to tie in the concept of rental property, passive income, with a second property like a cottage or a home, or just whether it's an investment property. It all comes together here, and it's a way to generate income, whether you're still working or you're retired, whether you're still trying to pay it off, accelerate that, or whether it's just supplementing your cash flow. It's exciting,
Yeah, it's thinking outside the box, and it's what we want to do. It's a good idea.
We want to get ahead.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So if you'd like to talk real estate, give us a call. Visit us online at peakwm.com. See you soon.